Welcome to Behind the Recipe. I'm your host, Christina Hitchcock. Join me every week as we dive into the joys of cooking, explore kitchen tips and tricks, and share delicious recipes that will inspire your next meal. So whether you're a seasoned cook or just learning your way around the stove, there's something here for everyone. Today, we're talking with my friend Chellie Schmitz from Art from My Table about mocktails. Welcome to the show, Chellie.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you. Before we get started, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, I live in Michigan and I have had my blog Art from My Table for 15-ish years. I'm not a real good blogiversary
Yeah, me
person.
either.
Um, I started it like most people, just kind of had a passion for cooking and feeding my family well, and more importantly, gathering them around the table for that time. And it just kind of grew from there. It started to be sort of a paperless way to keep track of my recipes and has grown into what it is now, which I focus on real food recipes. I don't like to use a lot of processed ingredients, but I believe you don't need a lot of ingredients to make a great recipe. So just keeping it simple and quick, and because I know all about what it's like to gather a lot of people around your table at dinner time and make it and deal with all the things. So I have four children, and yeah, lots of experience there. As far as mocktails go, I just wanted to say that I have been creating mocktails since before it was a trend. So I realize the past several years it's been trending. But my husband, when I met my husband, I learned very quickly that he did not indulge in alcohol. And so as we, move forward with our wedding and marriage and everything, I would try to just kind of make these great concoctions in the kitchen that
Yeah,
were still like a fun and festive drink experience without
right.
alcohol. So, yeah, so it's kind of been a fun thing I've been doing a long time.
I love that. And I love how mocktails are really um coming on strong these days. I was just out to dinner with my girlfriend the other night and they had a whole page of mocktails in their drink menu. And I
Yes.
thought that that was great. And some of them sounded even better than the cocktails. I was like more tempted to go the mocktail route. But like there's so many great combinations out there, just sans alcohol.
There is, and it really has become more of a thing. And now around where I live, I feel like we don't have a lot of restaurants that are doing that yet. A
Mhm.
few of them do. But way back in the days, if you went out and you kind of wanted to feel like you had something fancy, you would just order like a daiquiri without the alcohol, and
Right.
it's terrible. It's just a gross sugary drink.
That's so true.
So,
That is so true.
there really is an art and a craft to making it, to making it taste good. So,
Yeah, without just being a glass full of sugar water.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I know like when my son was little, he loved, when we would go out to get the Shirley Temple. So he felt, a little bit special. And I'll
Yes.
be honest, that is like the extent of my mocktail experience. I can make a Shirley Temple, but that's probably about it. But I do like when I host a family dinner and stuff and there's kids, I like to offer them, something a little fancier that they could drink, whether I get like the fancy soda, like the soda waters and stuff like that. Just something different that I wouldn't normally buy for the day to day and just kind of, have the garnishes and stuff. But I'm so excited to be talking about this because I feel like you're going to inspire my meals, my
Oh,
family meals a little
good.
bit
I hope
more.
so. Maybe you'll try something.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. And I guess for me, it always has been about more than what's in the glass. So what's in the glass is important, but there's all these other elements that make it feel extraordinary.
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be over the top, but like you said, just a little fancier, something a
Yeah,
little bit more fun, a pretty glass to hold, a pretty garnish.
yeah.
So last weekend was my daughter's graduation open house, and one of the trendy things right now that we did is a lemonade bar. And
Ooh.
so, have you heard of this?
I've heard of it, but I've
Okay.
never seen one.
Yeah, so we just had a big, like drink dispenser of lemonade, and then I had four, I just chose four to keep it simple, four flavored simple syrups, and
Hmm.
then put garnishes out. And it was like the hit of the party.
Oh, I love it.
So it just goes to show, right? Like everybody likes to have something a little bit special and feel a little
Yeah.
fancy. So.
Yeah, in a pretty glass and you feel fancy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So let's kind of maybe start with like the basics. What are the components to a good mocktail? You talked a lot about, just having a good balance of flavors and not just sugary components. How do
Yeah.
you even start with that?
Yes. Well, I have kind of a little formula that I use, but it is about balance. And if you think about like if people that are listening are cocktail enthusiasts, they'll know like there is an art to putting it together so that it blends these flavors and gives you a great drink with a depth of flavor. And mocktails are the same way, but you have to find that balance because
Mhm.
the alcohol in a drink gives it something. So it gives it, sometimes gives it like a texture, right? Like you
Right.
kind of hit like that dryness.
Yeah.
If you have, something, um, or it gives it some bitterness, or it gives it, so all of them kind of play into that. So when you're doing it without alcohol, that's what you want to be thinking about. But my formula is just four things. It's a base, a sour, a sweet, and a garnish.
Mm.
And the garnish, it's really optional, but it really just kind of
Oh,
elevates your drink.
yeah.
So you don't really have to have that, but I think
I
that's
do.
kind of what makes it,
I think you
special. So I mean, I put them in there. But your base it can be sparkling water, it could be soda, like 7 Up, Sprite, something like that. I really like to use different teas
do.
as a base and tea, whether they're flavored or, I mean, you have so many options with,
Right.
but here's what I like about tea, especially something like hibiscus tea, which is a little bit more fruity. Teas have those tannins
Mm.
that give you that dry feel, that gives the drink that texture. So, not that you need that in every drink, but that's one of the things that just kind of mimics that balance really well.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you can use kombucha, you can use juice, you have just so many options.
Right.
And then your next component is the sour. And so, a lot of times that might be a citrus, or a cranberry or a pomegranate. You even vinegar, can
Oh,
add. And here's the other thing with each of these components, they can overlap, right? Like you might use in one drink, you might use like sparkling water as a base, but in another drink, you might use it as like to top it off to just,
okay.
add bubble. So they can overlap into the categories. But sour, like lemon, lime, orange, cranberry, pomegranate are just some examples of those
Mm.
like more tart um,
Yeah.
elements of flavor. And then your sweet is going to kind of help to round all of that out. And again, tons of options, but you can keep it really easy with simple syrup or sugar.
Hmm.
I like simple syrup. And so I don't know how well versed people are in simple syrup if they know what that term means. That's something you can make, it's something you can buy, but it's a liquid sugar, basically.
Right.
And you
Equal parts
just
sugar, water, cooked
Yes.
down.
Yep, equal parts. So easy to make and it keeps in your fridge. But if you don't feel like making it, you can just go buy it.
Yeah.
And, they come in lots of flavors, which is what I was talking about with the lemonade bar. So I like to use a simple syrup because it's already liquid and you're putting in
Hmm.
a liquid drink and then you don't have to like try to get your sugar to melt.
Yeah, that's true.
You can
You don't get a
use
grainy drink.
Right. You can use honey. You can use, if you're a keto person, you can use agave nectar.
Yeah.
You have a lot of options, but you just want to balance that out with some sweet. And then, of course, the garnish it will add flavor, but it also adds like a visual,
Hmm.
you know?
And that doesn't even have to be fruit, right? We could go with herbs like mint or rosemary. Like you see rosemary in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
cocktails now. I really love that.
100%.
Yeah.
And there's something about the smell of it too, those fresh
Hmm.
herbs, because you're getting that as you take a sip, all those senses are.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I love that.
yeah.
I love that. Yeah, and it's funny because I think now, with the way things are, a lot of people they're choosing, you mentioned like dry January or in October, same thing, like they have like those dry periods that they promote that get promoted. But I mean, even people who are like going to be designated drivers or just choose not to drink for whatever reason, whether it's social, religious, whatever their reasons. I mean, this gives everybody a reason, like they can feel comfortable at the table
Absolutely.
with a cocktail. They don't have to feel singled out or left out, and everybody can just enjoy, and nobody knows what's in your glass because it's just as pretty as the next one.
Yes, exactly. It's kind
Yeah.
of all encompassing. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it for that reason.
So I imagine too, you can make them slushy, and if you want to go with like slushy drinks and all
Mhm.
that good stuff. As it's summer now, and I'm thinking about that, like, oh, as I'm floating in the pool, I could be
Yes.
sipping on a slushy mocktail.
Yes, I have one called a Cherry Cooler
Ooh,
on my site that is and to be honest, it's been on my site for a long time. But it's a very slushy, icy texture, and it's
yeah,
perfect for, yes,
yeah, I love that.
enjoying
And
by
it
the pool or wherever.
wherever, yeah,
Yeah.
even in the winter, if that's your
If you
choice.
like to be
Or
cold.
yeah, I love it. And you can also get inspiration, I'm sure, from cocktails that you see out there, right? Like I'm thinking I love a good mojito, but I don't
Mhm.
necessarily need the rum that's in the mojito. I can make it like a no-hito, like with no rum, I'm assuming. Just
Yeah, 100%. I have a mojito mocktail
oh,
on
that's
my
my
site as
favorite.
well. I know they're so good and refreshing and really easy, and I feel like you don't really miss the alcohol.
Right.
And my hot tip with the nojito, if that's what we're calling it, you can use if you really enjoy that rum flavor and you think you would miss that, you can use a little bit of rum extract.
That is brilliant. I never would have thought to do
Yeah,
that. That's like
yeah.
one of those extracts that sits in the cupboard that you buy
You
it
use
for one
once.
recipe and then you never use it again.
Yes. Well, welcome to
Yes.
the
You
world of
use your eighth
mojitos.
of a teaspoon in the cupcakes or the muffins or whatever it was your cake you were making, and then you never touch the stuff.
Yes. Well, now you have a new use for
There
that.
we go. Oh, be making mojitos forever.
Yes. And mojitos are just really good. And I think I have a couple on my site of
Hmm.
like different flavors,
Hmm.
flavor infused ones. So they're nice.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about like ways that you can make it from scratch, but are there other ways that we can like level up mocktails with just using what we have on hand?
Absolutely. So, I like to just start with what's in my pantry
Hmm.
or in my fridge. And I mean, it's summer, so I like to do like a herb garden I mean, I live in a state with four seasons, so I don't have
Me
a garden
too.
all the time. But if you're not like a gardener, and you want some of like the fresh herbs and that sort of thing, but the next time you're at the store, just grab those little potted, what do they call them? I think they call them living
Yeah, like
herbs,
living. Yeah,
something. But I often will get those and just like keep them on my counter in the
right.
wintertime. So, but juices, tea is something I always have. Juice is something I
Mhm.
usually have. And we actually have a soda stream. That's like the thing that makes your water carbonated.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of my go-to things for making mocktails, like to have my base. And I just love carbonated drinks.
I do
And I don't
too.
drink pop anymore, so like I do love that. But yeah, and simple syrups, we talked about making that with sugar and water. Most people have sugar and water. And you can add fresh fruit to that to infuse it.
Hmm.
Again, and I mean, most people have some fresh fruit, so you can when you're making it, you just want to put the fruit in there and then take it up. Once the sugar melts, you just take it off the heat and just let that infuse for like a half an hour. I mean, if you
Yeah.
do it longer, it'll be a little bit more intense. And then you just strain it out and you'll have this
Huh.
flavored simple syrup.
I
And
never
because,
thought to put fruit in there. Like I've done it with mint for
yes,
obviously
and
for
maybe
mojitos.
other herbs too.
Right. But I'm
Layering.
thinking, oh my gosh, like a peach one would be fantastic for the
Oh, it was
summer.
so
Like to,
delicious.
oh, because you could extract so much flavor out of peaches. Like that would be amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
even
And
just to flavor
even,
some iced tea.
yes, absolutely. And even we talked about fresh herbs, but even like dried, like warm spices, like if you
Hmm.
think about fall, um,
Ooh.
and the holidays. So, the I do a syrup in one of my other recipes. It's a gingerbread white Russian mocktail.
Ooh. Yum.
And so just using some cinnamon sticks and some
Mhm.
cloves and some ginger and infusing that in your simple syrup, you
Mm.
get this, and it's great in coffee too. So,
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can use it several different ways. But yeah, so you can very easily take ingredients that you have at home or that are
Huh.
just kind of staples in your house, I guess.
Yeah, or like I said, like those weird ones. Like I'm thinking too, when you said I never thought about the warm one. Like my brain is twirling right now with all the ideas.
Oh,
But
good.
you said like the warm ones, like I have star anise that has been
Yes. Yep.
that has been there forever. If you're not sure what that is, it's basically where anise extract comes from, and it's actually in the shape of a star, and it's like a dried pod. And you could steep it. Like I've used it for ciders, like hot ciders and stuff, and
Mhm.
just, steeping it in there. But yeah, that would be great to make like a warm, even to use for like a coffee creamer. I never thought to do that.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Another one, and another one thing that I like to just like my personal favorite thing, are you familiar with the Bai waters?
Yes, I love them.
Okay. Those are great mocktail starters too because they have so much flavor.
Yeah.
And I mean, something as simple as like that with like some sparkling water or some ginger beer. And
Mm.
for those that don't know, ginger beer is a non-alcoholic. It's like a very strong ginger ale, but you could use
Right.
ginger ale if you like that. It's another popular one.
Hmm.
The ginger beer is a little spicier, and in my opinion, a little less sweet, but it might
Hmm.
depend on the brand that you
Right.
buy. But yeah, that like the buy mixed with that and then like a pretty garnish. I mean, boom,
Hmm.
you have something, put it in a pretty glass and like you're done.
Yeah. And I mean, they come in such great flavor combinations too.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
And you in there, that's a healthy option, or better for you option. I
True.
know, but because it does it like that one has like some added vitamins to it.
Yeah. The
I think it,
antioxidants and
yes. So it's kind of a little more of a I know, but I'm so trained to be like, we can't say healthy.
no, you're
It
right.
is.
It's a
It,
better for you
it's a
option.
better for you option if you're looking to, be lower sugar and
Yeah. Because I've
whatever.
always
It
said
has
like
some vitamins.
I don't like to drink my calories. If I'm gonna, consume calories, I would rather have it in ice cream format than any other
Amen.
format on the planet. But I
I
don't
am
like to
so with
drink
you.
it. Yeah. I don't like sweet drinks and I would prefer, things that aren't so sweet, but that would be a great option. Huh.
Yeah. So I
And I
really,
and there's so many great like new products coming out, like the poppy sodas and like fun flavors that you weren't able to get even like 5 years ago. Like there's so many ways you
yes.
can play around with it.
Yes, you really can. Yeah, and if you want, the opposite feeling, like not a relaxed feeling, but more of the up, you can add some of those caffeine high energy drinks if you want to. That's not for me, but
Yeah, not for me, but it's an option if that's for you. No judgment here.
no, none at all,
You
none
do
at
you.
all. I just don't do that well with the caffeine. So,
But that
um,
might even like you
but they're
thinking about
flavor
making
boosters.
the what's the one that's the espresso martini that everybody's raving about now. Like back in the day, it was the Cosmo with Sex in the City. Now we're on to
Yes.
espresso martinis. But I'm assuming like we could probably make even mocktail versions of that. Super.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you can. That's one that I have that I don't have on my blog yet, but I have in the works. That's one I've
Oh,
been working
good.
on. So
So there's a tease for you.
yes, there's a tease for you. But coffee is another great example of what you can use as a
Hmm.
base. So, and in the White Russians, I'll use coffee
Mm,
instead of, coffee liqueur. We're just using
right.
tea to mimic that flavor and give that balance.
Huh.
So,
Love it. So
lots
I
of fun.
wanted to stock my kitchen well to get myself set up to make these amazing mocktails. What would you recommend, like are my basics that I should have?
So I would recommend. this can be all over the map.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I would think about, what are the things that you enjoy? And when you think about having a fun drink or a mocktail, are you a fruity person? Are
Mm.
you more of a citrusy? Or are you more of a tea? Like what kind of flavor profile are you looking for?
Okay.
And I would start there. But I think if you can have tea, I shouldn't make the assumption that it's a staple for everyone, but I feel like at least a lot of people in my world drink tea. So that's
Mhm.
something you can have a couple teas. Green tea and hibiscus tea is fruity, but it has like that dryness to it. So I
Right.
think it's one of my favorites for
Yeah.
mocktails. But even a basic green tea, a black tea that you might just drink every day. So now you're extending that.
Hmm.
And I would say a simple syrup. Whether
Okay.
you decide to buy it or make it, we need the base and we need the sweet.
Hmm.
And for your sour, I think citrus is wonderful. And we talked a little bit about the fresh herbs. Mint is one I think we didn't mention, but or maybe we did, but that is a really nice addition to most things as well. So, um, and with like grapefruit's another one we didn't talk about. I
Ooh,
think
I
about that
love
one.
grapefruit.
Yeah. But grapefruit makes like a fresh squeezed grapefruit makes
Yeah.
a great addition. You can do like a Paloma
My new
mocktail.
favorite cocktail. I do love a good Paloma.
So, there's a lot of things, but okay, so I digress. You asked me what are a few staples to have in the
Yeah.
house. So I would say tea, juice, a simple syrup, just because it's easy. But sugar and water. But if you prefer honey or maple syrup,
Hmm.
you can do that too. And then some type of garnish. And if you want a garnish that is going to not expire so quickly, like a fresh herb. You can get dried fruits, and they so fresh fruit makes a nice garnish, fresh herbs, but like a dried or citrus, they have dried
Right.
like oranges and those will infuse your drink a little bit too, but also just they're just really pretty and you can buy them on Amazon,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
I will say for the
and they'll
people out
keep.
there that are like, I don't have a green thumb, I can't grow my own herbs. Let me just say, you cannot kill mint. I have the blackest thumb that anybody could have. I don't know how
I
I
don't
didn't
know. I might have you beat on the black thumb.
I don't know how I didn't inherit just a little bit of the growing genetics that are in my family. I mean, I had family members that had greenhouses. I cannot keep
Wow.
any plant alive, but I can't seem to kill the mint. And I just keep it in pots on my patio, my herbs just in pots. I mean, it's the one thing I can manage to grow and doesn't require a lot of fuss.
Yes.
So,
And just to add to that, if you do, I'm the same way, but I don't typically grow mint in the winter, but I will go and pick up the living herb like it's like a little potted plant
yeah,
and I will just keep those in my kitchen. And you know what? They die after a few weeks and I just go buy another one. I mean, they're like
yeah,
$2 or $3. So even if I do kill it,
yeah,
it's lasts much longer than if you purchase like basil that's already the leaves are already torn off and
right.
like in the
The
produce
little
department.
plastic thing
Right,
hanging up in
right.
the,
I mean, nothing against that, but they just don't last as long
right.
as the ones that are actually growing. So even if you are afraid you're going to kill them, you will have them for a few weeks
Yeah.
before they die, and then it's not very much to replace them. So you're just
Yeah.
not out a
No, no, that's a great tip. But so any other final tips for us in our mocktail journey?
lot. Oh, I do have if you we talked a little bit about like kind of some staple stuff. I did want to mention now there is so much more to play with than there used to be. So there are zero proof spirits.
Mm,
That is an option. So,
yeah,
and I think it just depends on why somebody is choosing mocktails. Maybe it's because you don't drink. So you maybe want a fun drink that doesn't taste like alcohol.
Right.
If you're looking for something to really mimic the flavor a little bit more, but you just don't want the effects of alcohol, then, a zero proof spirit might be something that you could
Hmm.
try. And they're much more popular now and available than they used to be.
Yeah.
And then there is another brand called Seedlip, and they have been around for a while, and I have played with some of theirs. Um, it's a distilled, I'm probably not even going to explain it right. But they were kind of around before the zero proof spirit. So they're really not marketed as a zero proof spirit, but it's like a distilled beverage, and they use a lot of herbs and
Okay.
spices to make them.
Hmm.
And they have a great website with a lot of recipes for their
Mm.
product.
Right.
That is also really good. But if you want to just play with something a little bit different, I think it's not as widely known, but I think it's a really good product. And there's not, it's good. It's not bad for you. It doesn't have any sugar in it. So it makes a nice base or additive.
And can you say that brand name again?
Seed lip. So it's
Okay.
one word, Seedlip.
We'll put a link to that in the show notes. So if that's something you want to check out, you can head over to the show notes and grab that link and check them out.
Yeah. And other than that, I think it's just you can be what do they call? They call the coffee a barista. Why
Yeah,
can I?
a mixologist.
A mixologist. Thank you.
And this could even be a fun thing to have kids help with, like during the
hmm
holidays. Like
hmm
put one of your teenagers in charge of, mixing up the mocktails for everybody. They could have a lot of fun, I think, coming
Absolutely.
up with concoctions of their own.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that could be
For
a lot of
sure.
fun.
Or even it makes a great like girls' night or couples' night,
Yeah.
kind of gives you something different and fun to do, have everybody over, have a few ingredients, and we're going to make mocktails. I teach classes at our local library, and
Hmm.
so the mocktails class is one that I taught, and it's for their adult program, and people had so much fun,
I bet.
just playing around and mixing different things together. And what a great atmosphere to try it in. Like, oh, I don't know if that would taste good. Try it.
Right. The worst.
You
You
might
take a
be,
sip, you don't like it, you move on.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So.
Yeah. No, this is great. This could be a lot of fun for, like you said, like a summer party or just summer get together with the girls, and or if you're having a pool day, if your kids, the kids are having their friends over for a pool day, I would mix up some mocktails and just kind of make it, a little special. And they have
Yes.
so many pretty now, like you can get so many pretty plastic stemware that looks like glass. Like it
Yes.
looks nice for use around the pool. Like I think about that. Like I wouldn't want glass near the pool, but
We don't
uh,
like glass at our pool. That's a big
yeah,
rule in my house. No glass by
yeah,
the pool.
no glass.
It's
Too
a
many bare
safety
feet.
measure.
Bare feet.
But yes, they do. I was at Home Goods not too long ago, and you're right. There are so many pretty ones. So it just makes it fun, right?
Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah, you could really have a good time with this. Well, thank you so much for sharing your tips with me, Shelley, and for everybody else listening today. This has been great. Why don't you remind our listeners where they can find you online?
Artfrommytable.com is my website, and I am on all the social things under Art from My Table. Same thing. And if anyone has questions or want to reach out to me, I'm just going onto my blog and doing sending an email that way is great too. I'm more than happy to answer questions or connect with people.
Awesome. And we will be sure to put all those links in the show notes for you. And you also have a Mocktails Essentials checklist, right? That our listeners can grab if they want. It's a free checklist.
I do. I do.
How did they get that?
So that is, I'll give you a link. You can put it in the show
Okay.
notes. But if you just go straight to the blog, the very top of the blog is like a blue bar and it says grab your mocktail checklist, and that is there.
And you're coming out with a new ebook too, all about mocktails.
I do have a new it's a mocktail guide.
Ooh,
So
tell me more.
there are yeah, so it really, we touched on a couple of things today, but it really goes into details and gives you lots of different options on how to make mocktails at home. So it will go through the essentials that you need, it will go through the extras that you need, it will go through the basics, it will give you a lot of advanced tips and tricks.
Hmm.
Um, so it's like 44 pages of very good content. And then also included in that are different recipes, different mocktail recipes for the seasons.
So if you're not comfortable, if you still don't feel comfortable putting things together yourself, you've taken all the guesswork and hard work out of it, right?
Yeah, yeah. But it's like cooking, right? It's an art. And
Yeah.
so you can, baking is a science, right? You have to follow the recipe. There is actually scientific stuff happening.
Yeah.
But that's why I like cooking and making mocktails is the same way. You can really play without messing anything up. So
Yeah.
as we said earlier, the worst thing that's going to happen is it doesn't taste good. But yes, the guide is full of all of the details you need, and just how to become a mixologist and have fun and do all that at home. And there's some recipes included too. So.
Oh, I love it. And we'll put a link to all of this in the show notes so you can grab it there. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much, Shelley.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
Oh,
such a
my
fun to
pleasure.
hang out with you.
Yeah, it's always fun. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Behind the Recipe. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and picked up a few tips or maybe even a couple of mocktails to try at your next get together. And if you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends, of course. And I'd love to hear from you. So send me your questions, your feedback, even your recipe ideas. Just head over to itisakeeper.com. Until next time, happy cooking. And remember, everything is better when shared in the kitchen.